On we move to the Lakers home against Utah.
There we go with that sorry music again.
See if Denver had
Yes.
lost and the Lakers had won, which they did, they would have been 3 instead of 4. But
oh, here come old man River.
Throw it down.
No, you don't have to. Just lay him.
Come on, man. His dunking days are over.
Oh, you tripping. His dunking days
Okay,
not
I
over.
can't joke now.
no,
It ain't over.
DeAndre Ayton up top,
He's got more fast break points than anybody in the league.
22 and 10 for
Oh, you ain't
Ayton.
gonna dunk it there. Oh.
Told you.
In the NBA, you have to pretend that Bronny's an NBA player.
Charles Barkley just said what the NBA world has been thinking, but nobody dares say out loud. You have to pretend Bronny James is an NBA player, because if you don't, you upset the king. That wasn't really a joke. When a Hall of Famer says that on live television and the panel laughs nervously, that's honesty wrapped in humor because the truth is too uncomfortable to deliver straight. Barkley has been around this league for decades. He knows what he's saying and what it means when he says it nationally. The question is not whether Bronny belongs in the NBA right now. The real question is, why is nobody allowed to ask that seriously without consequences?
LeBron 18, 4 and 6.
Oh, kill him, Bronny. Kill him, Bron.
Bron's on the bench right now.
No, Bron played tonight.
Little Bron.
Yeah. There you go.
Little
See that?
Picking up Bronny.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
hey.
With the open dope.
I see you,
Dixie
nephew,
do.
with the switcheroo.
Come on, Bron, let's shoot that thing.
Bang, bang.
I'll tell you what, we can't say nothing bad about Bronny. We don't want Bron rocking up on us on center court.
Rui Hachimura 22 and 10 as we move quickly along and head to the scoreboard. Struck for that 131 to 107.
DeAndre, 22 points,
The
100.
45th time this year.
That shouldn't even count. Your stats against the
45th time
Jazz
that the
should
Lakers
count.
have shot 50%. They're 38
and
and
101,
7.
what?
They're going to be number 4 and take on the Houston Rockets.
DeAndre shot 101 times tonight. Pass the ball, man.
I think he was 10 for 14. 101 and 4.
Hey,
It's all about where the slash is, isn't it?
And that one sentence from Barkley explains more about this situation than any stat sheet could. Inside every NBA locker room there is an unspoken code that everyone understands the moment they walk through that door. Roster spots are serious business. Only 15 per team. Hundreds of players never get the call. Players grinding through the G League on minimum contracts. Players surviving on 10-day deals, hoping one good game changes everything. Players flying overseas just to keep their career breathing for another season. Every single NBA roster spot represents years of grinding sacrifice from someone who gave absolutely everything they had just to get there. So when a spot is held by someone the coaching staff is not willing to deploy in real competitive situations, the energy inside that building shifts. Not overnight, not in a single moment. But quietly and steadily it builds in the background. Players notice. Assistants feel it. Locker rooms are not blind to these dynamics. And eventually the whole organization has to face a question it has been very carefully avoiding. Is Bronny James actually earning his roster spot? The numbers are not making that comfortable to answer. And the analysts have finally started saying what people have been thinking privately for months. What you are about to hear is exactly where this situation stands right now.
In the NBA, you have to pretend that Bronny's an NBA player because otherwise you'll upset the king. And remember, he is a 6'2" guard that's a non-point guard. I've never seen that existing in the current NBA. And go back 20 years. He is 1 for 16 in the NBA from the floor, 0 for 7 on threes. He's not an NBA player. He was not a great high school player. He was a good high school player. He wasn't a good college player. He was a college player. And he's not an NBA player. And he may be a great kid. I'm sure he is. LeBron's a nice guy. I've met him. Can we stop pretending on this?
I just looked it up. G League top scorers, points per game. I went through 50 and there's no Bronny James in there. He had 140-point game. Other games were 1. So now you do the math, and it's not going to be in the top 50. I don't even know who is this. Bryce McGowan, Elijah Harkles, Trey Alexander, DJ Davidson. Never heard of these kids. But they're dropping 30 a night in G League. Why is Bronny sitting on the bench? And this is the thing with Stephen A.
That 6'2" guard who is not even a point guard. The analyst said it clearly. That profile does not exist in the current NBA at a competitive level. The league has moved away from undersized off-ball guards who cannot create off the dribble consistently. Every team needs switchable defenders, floor spacers, players who can handle pressure on both ends. Bronny checks none of those boxes right now. 1 for 16 from the floor. 0 for 7 from 3. Not in the G League top 50 scorers, players nobody's ever heard of. Guys on minimum deals, guys fighting for their careers. are dropping 30 points a night in the G League while Bronny sits on the Lakers bench on a guaranteed contract. And the most uncomfortable part, when Luka went down, when Reeves was unavailable, when the guard rotation was genuinely thin and the Lakers needed bodies, J.J. Redick chose Nick Smith Jr. A-player Charlotte already waived before his rookie deal finished, over Bronny James. That is not a small detail. That is the coaching staff making a very loud statement without saying a single word. Watch what happens next, because the numbers get even harder to defend.
He's 7 for 28 in 4 preseason games from the field. He's 2 for 13, I believe, from three-point range. He's got 8 assists and 8 turnovers. He's moving into year 2. This guy is not an NBA player.
7 for 28. That is not a rough night. That is not a cold stretch every player goes through at some point in the season. That is a pattern forming across multiple games in the most important stretch of the year. And here's what makes it harder to defend. The majority of those attempts came in garbage time, late in blowouts, against bench units that had already mentally checked out of the game. The lowest pressure possessions in professional basketball. No real consequence, no playoff implications, no genuine defensive intensity coming from the other side of the floor. And even in those low pressure minutes, Bronny has not separated himself from the competition around him. The coaching staff watches everything, every possession, every defensive rotation, every split-second decision with and without the ball. What J.J. Redick has seen through these first months has not given him the confidence to trust Bronny on the floor when the game actually matters and something real is at stake. 3 turnovers. 0 for 5. Looking genuinely terrified out there. The Sixers went right after him the second he stepped onto the floor. That is not bad luck. That is a scouting report being executed in real time. Professional teams identify weaknesses and attack them immediately without hesitation. That is basketball at its most honest and unforgiving level.
Last night came in, 3 turnovers, 0 for 5, looked terrified, nervous, and the Sixers, you can't fool players, went right after him. This continues to be an unserious...
This is an unserious situation. Those 4 words carry more weight than any box score breakdown because they are coming from someone inside the basketball world who has simply run out of patience for the narrative being carefully constructed around Bronny James. Here is the complete picture. Bronny holds one of 15 guaranteed roster spots on a team genuinely trying to win right now. The Lakers are not rebuilding. They are not running a development program for some future season. They have LeBron James in what everyone quietly understands is the final chapter of his career, a championship window that is narrowing with every single game that passes. And one of those 15 spots belongs to a player the coaching staff does not trust when the game is competitive and the result actually matters. When Luka went down, when Reeves was unavailable, when the guard rotation was thin and the team genuinely needed help, J.J. Redick chose Nick Smith Jr. A-player Charlotte had already waived before finishing his rookie deal, over Bronny James. That is the coaching staff drawing the clearest line they can without holding a formal press conference. LeBron's presence creates a protective layer over this entire situation. Nobody publicly criticizes Bronny because nobody wants that relationship damaged. Analysts choose careful words. Beat reporters soften their takes. Even Barkley wraps the real answer inside a joke. But behind closed doors, the evaluation is already happening. It has to be. Front offices operate on numbers and flexibility. Every roster spot is either helping you compete or costing you options at the trade deadline. Right now, Bronny looks more like a complicated question the organization has not solved than a piece they can actually use when it counts. The G League has guards right now who would make an immediate impact on this roster. Players who can defend multiple positions. Shooters who understand spacing without needing the ball in their hands. High-energy guards who know exactly what their role is and execute it every single night without requiring special treatment or protected status. Those players do not receive guaranteed contracts connected to a famous last name. They produce or they disappear. That is the standard the NBA holds everyone to eventually. Bronny has not met that standard yet. And the window of patience the Lakers are extending him is not as long as the headlines suggest. LeBron's era is closing. Everyone inside that building knows it even if nobody says it publicly. When that chapter ends, the protective layer around this situation fades with it. Evaluation becomes equal for everyone. Same expectations. Same accountability. Same pressure to either perform or step aside for someone who will. That moment is coming sooner than anyone is comfortable admitting. And when it arrives, Bronny James is going to need to have built something real and undeniable by then. Think about what that means for every game from this point forward. Every time Bronny enters the floor, fans are going to be watching with a different set of eyes now. Not just hoping he does well, but genuinely asking whether this is sustainable. Whether the team around him is being held back by one roster decision that nobody inside the organization has the courage to address directly. That is not fair to Bronny as a person. But that is the reality of playing in the NBA with LeBron James as your father. The scrutiny does not get softer. It gets harder. And the only answer that works in this league is performance. Undeniable, consistent production that makes the decision for the coaching staff before they even have to think about it. So tell me, Does Bronny actually deserve his spot on this Lakers roster right now? Or is this the most uncomfortable situation in the NBA this season? Drop your honest answer in the comments right now, because this conversation is not going anywhere.